All right, folks, we are looking at the foreign exchange market. So on the left-hand side, we have a dollar chart. And if you remember, I've been talking in the recent videos when discussing the ideas I had in mind for dollar index. I felt that we were going to be trading above these highs over here. Okay, so here we are on the 22nd of September 2020, and the price was delivered as outlined. Now, if we have this idea in mind, would that be bullish or bearish for foreign currency? For instance, like euro dollar. Well, when we see a move like this, we expect to see a drop in the price action for euro dollar. So with this in mind, let's go over to euro. And this is the one I use for it. Now you can see there's several different brokerage feeds you can pull from. I like Forex.com. All right, so here's the euro dollar daily chart. And as you would expect, the mirror image of these lows over here, that was the target I was aiming for today, for a day trader's model. All right, so I'm going to drop into an hourly chart. All right, so here's the hourly euro dollar chart. Right away, your eye should be jumping right to the optimal trade entry for today, but if not, don't worry, I will cover it for you. All right, so in this area here, this price action is what we're going to look at. Okay, so the market's creeping sideways, it breaks down, then trades up, then rolls over. So your optimal trade entry is here to here, and I'll show you that. Okay, so we have high to low, and the price trades right back up. Look where the bodies of the candles are trading to. Yes, we have errant price action where it goes beyond it, but again, the Fibonacci is not the secret. Okay, it's not. We're just looking at, are we overbought or oversold? Now we are overbought, but look at the bodies respecting that 79% retracement level right there. Beautiful. Price breaks down, comes back up in again. Here is another optimal trade entry, and we'll see this on the 15-minute time frame, but for completeness, I'll add it now, so when we do drop down into 15-minute time frame, you'll see it. All right, so the delivery here, we trade below these lows, and then the market has a nice retracement back up into the bearish order block, trades away, and starts to break down. Now, on the 15-minute time frame, you could use this area here to enter, and then attack the low here, and attack those daily lows. What if you miss this setup here? Do you just throw the baby out with the bathwater? No. Let's drop down into, let's take this off first because it will probably be confusing otherwise. But here's what we have. That framework will drop down into a 15-minute time frame. Okay, so here is the 15-minute time frame, and you can see there's your optimal trade entry. Put it right on the key swing highs and low. Okay, right in here. And then the market trades right back up into, look, wouldn't you know it, 79% retracement level, rolls over. Now, what if you missed this move? So you had two opportunities, and say you sit down in your charts and real life gets in the way, okay, like it did for me today. I am not always in front of the charts exactly when the setups form. Sometimes I'm unable to get my computer to log on. And if you're like me, that Windows update that usually comes on, you can't do anything about it once it starts. You have to wait. That's plagued me many times. But homeschooling right now is proving to be a little bit of a challenge for my two younger sons with my wife. So I have to do my part to help with that. And today was that case. So I didn't get the opportunity to trade short up in here. So how do I work within that? So we have an ideal scenario where we look for the overall price structure to trade lower. So here is the beginning of the day on the 22nd. Okay. The market trades softly initially and then retraces back up into ahead of the New York Open. Okay, so we have this price leg down and up. Do we use this price leg high or this one? This one. Why? Because the market was driving higher there. So as it was reaching higher, you want to anchor to a point of reference like that. And then down here, it's delivering on the downside. So there's your 2 reference points for the fib, if you want to use that, again, relative to the price structure we showed on that hourly chart. Optimal trade entry, extend that out in time, still inside that leg as well. So if you missed this one or this one, what do? Well, the larger parent price swing, if you're not writing this stuff down, you're wasting your time. This is the larger parent price swing, and this is a subordinate price swing inside of this larger fractal. Just like this price swing here to here, and you expect lower prices, or I did. This same portion of price action is a smaller fractal or very similar pattern to what we're seeing here. It's just on a smaller scale. But inside the context that if you think this is bearish, where's the larger parent price swing calling for? Well, you have a standard deviation of negative 0.5. And it's also below those key levels that I outlined on, it's a little bit, let's do this. That really makes it better if we see it more prominent. Okay, so that's the level we would be reaching for a day trade. So we can take that fib off now. It's accomplished its mission here, and we'll take this off because it's no longer salient. Because the idea is, if you're watching price action and you know what you're looking to trade off of, okay, or maybe you were just apprehensive and you just didn't want to take the trade, you didn't trust it, were nervous, or just completely distracted at the time, because you could be in front of your charts and maybe a phone call rings or an email opens up, or someone does something, okay, or your foot hits the power surge protector and it turns off everything. These are all things that's happened to me. Okay, so when those instances happen and the market starts to take off right in here, okay, when it starts to break down here, most people would be like, okay, I missed it, and they'll try to chase it down here, or once it's starting to move over here, and you don't want to do that. Okay, you don't want to do that. You want to look at the price leg here that creates that fractal that's the optimal trade entry. If you can trade back to this low. Oh, you're talking about that support and resistance stuff. Well, in this case, it fits the narrative. So yes, if you can apply the correct narrative to the price chart, then yeah, support and resistance and even retail indicators might assist you. But if you don't have the right narrative, it don't really matter. So the market trades up into this low, which is a mitigation block. Okay, so mitigation is close to, but not the same as an ICT breaker. All right, so it's a matter of referencing and classifying a specific high or low in the scope of the underlying narrative. Now, it sounds like a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo to someone that hasn't really spent any time here on this YouTube channel, but it is the premise to selecting which highs and lows to anticipate a support or resistance idea to develop, if that makes any sense. So in other words, why would we expect this low to act as support turn resistance? And why not this one? And why not this one? Or how about this one? Why didn't it act as support broken turn resistance there? You see what I'm saying? So there's a underlying narrative that needs to be understood when you look at price action on a naked basis. That means there's no indicators, no trend lines, none of those things. The only time you ever see a trend line on my chart is where I'm showing horizontal levels that's carried into the future. I don't like diagonal support and resistance because they're too subjective, and there's so many opportunities for you to anchor them on different price points. It's clearly subjective, and anyone that says it's a perfect science to it is lying. So I lost a lot of money, real money, trading trend lines. So I'm not a fan of them, but I look for things that help me identify where the retail traders will anticipate price. Many of you are familiar with my optimal trade entry, and while I'm outlining the sell side here and that larger one here that we looked at on the hourly chart before dropping down to the 15-minute time frame with this price like here to here, and then this smaller one here, maybe you were looking at this down close candle or all these down close candles, and the market was trading down into the time of day where we would expect a New York session run to do what? To take out these relative equal highs. I'm not going to say anything, but there's a lot of people that were doing that very thing in live streams and things like that, even calling out my stuff. But the underlying narrative they had was wrong. So that's what I'm saying. Like when you're learning how to do this, you need to have the understanding of why it should work, not just, oh, I know the magic trick behind it all. It's simply a down close candle right before the up move, and when it trades back down to it, it's a buy. Because if they bought this and it started a rally, they're under the impression that they're correct, and the only thing this is doing is repricing for another sell-off, and the market starts to trade lower. So what do you do if you miss that, or if your stop loss gets hit? How can you get in sync with the marketplace? Because if it breaks below here and you've been trying to buy it, you should not be thinking that this is now, another opportunity to buy. It's telling you, it's telegraphing, it's not wanting to go higher. And just because there's relative equal highs over here and there's buy side liquidity above that, yes, it doesn't mean with any grade of assurity or absolution that they're going to take it there. Okay, so the idea is, how do we use this area right in here? So now we have this price structure in line with the underlying narrative that it wants to go lower, because that dollar, I've already told you freely on this YouTube channel that I was short-term bullish on the dollar, and I wanted those relative equal highs on the daily chart to be traded to and above. So if that happens to be my short-term outlook on dollar, then we have to be focusing, or at least I have to be focusing, and my students are focusing on shorting foreign currency. So we have our levels here on the 15-minute time frame. So now we can go into a lower time frame 5-minute chart and capitalize on short-term order flow. We have a low here, and the market trades back up into, and when it trades into here on this candle, you'll watch at the end of my jawboning here, I used a limit order. Now, initially, I had the limit order with a 15 pip stop or so, I think it was. And I opened the limit up with that, and I was watching price. And before the limit order fills, I adjust it to around 11 pips, a little bit less than 11 pips total risk. And I was aiming for this level down here, and you'll see it. Now, before I get into that, I'm going to talk a little bit briefly about this discussion, we'll say it that way, that is being pushed around. And I'm all for exposing people that don't know how to trade and they're trying to capitalize and fraud people and saying, hey, look, I'm making money. Look at my MT4 screenshots. I don't do that. Okay. I don't even operate with an MT4 platform for any of my teachings. I use what you see right here. In case you don't know what this is tradingview.com. And the idea is that these folks can use the MT4 manager and go in and enter trades after the fact and make it look like they took those trades. And they can even show you, look, this was the time I entered the trade, but you never see them actually entering the trades. Okay, you never see them entering the trades, adjusting their stop, putting their stop in when they enter the trade, and managing it to the close, whether it hits the target, whether it takes the take profit. That's the part I have been begging for, because let's be honest, it's more interesting to see someone be able to operate and engage price action like that than just simply showing you, here's the results. Here's yesterday's winning lottery numbers, and I had a ticket. No, tell me what you think the lottery numbers are going to be, and then let's see how it pans out. Well, that's what I do. I have thousands of people that watch me do this stuff. I cosign every single time I sit down with my students, and I did it publicly here. I told you what I felt was going to happen with that dollar. Are you keeping up? Are you keeping tabs on what I'm expecting? Because if you are, you can still go back and watch those YouTube videos. I can't change them. I can't edit them. So TradingView is not an MT4 platform. Okay, that's why I went here. Everyone that was suggesting in the past, hey, get off of MT4 because you're faking it, ICT. Okay, to remove all doubt, I said, well, what do you want me to use? TradingView. Okay, here I am on TradingView. So it took a little bit of time getting used to it. I'm warming up to the platform now. I still don't know a lot of stuff on here. And a lot of my students and even folks that are not even in my mentorship email me once in a while. They'll say, hey, look, I see what you're doing in the video. You're struggling with this and that. And they give me tips. And folks, listen, I appreciate that. I am still learning how to use this platform, as fluidly as I need to be, I guess. But I'm entering the orders here. Okay. You see the orders entering. I'm pushing the button. I want to see you push the button. Well, guess what? I'm pushing them every week. Every week. I don't see nobody else pushing any buttons up here. I've been asking for it. You don't see it. So I would love to see. I love watching other people trade. I love it. And I'm not saying watch them lose. I'm saying I would like to see them execute a very refined entry, manage risk the entire time, take partials along the way to fund the position and trader. And here you got it. You have somebody that's showing proof, the elusive proof. You don't need to see a live account. You absolutely do not need to see a live account, period. You need to see someone executing and managing a position, because this same data feed is the same data feed that you're going to see on Interactive Brokers, IG, which let me real quick mention this. I posted a video yesterday. And in my haste, because I don't have a script, that's why my videos can be long-winded rather frequently. And like this one, because I had every intentions of making it about a 15-minute long video, but it's not going to be a 15-minute video. So if we look at this data feed on TradingView, I don't care what live institutional platform you're using, it's still close. And it's mark to market within a very fair, it might be ahead of it, it might be a little bit behind it in terms of a second or two, but it's the same feed, folks. It's the same thing. So if I don't know what I'm talking about, and what am I talking about? Price action delivery. I do not go on record and say, I'm going to make you a live trader that's profitable with live funds. I'm not licensed and regulated to do that. I say, and I promise, that if you study under me, whether it's through this YouTube channel or in my community, the mentorship, you're going to learn how to see price action like nobody's business, period. And I'm on record there, just like here, executing on a basis that I've already outlined beforehand. Always in a demo account, because I am not regulated. I'm not licensed to do that. I'm not a CTA, commodity trade advisor. I'm not getting myself in trouble just because some woman or man anywhere in the world says, do it with a live account. Okay, well, if you're willing to pay me live funds for me to do it, yeah, oh, absolutely, I'll dance for that. Because then you'll see me take that money and give it away. Because if I was hard up for money, I would keep it. I gave away money on Twitter just because I said, if you don't believe I would give away money, say a specific phrase. And those that tweeted it to me, I said, okay, you're the one. I went and DM. I said, send me your email address through PayPal, and I sent money to them just to prove I would. So if I can get this woman that's barking, ain't seen no deposit yet with that movie money, but if she will do it and put it in an escrow account, I will absolutely go into a live account and trade it, record every trade, and then close the account after it's done. And then I'll show you all the statements, because I don't want anything hacked or people going into it after the fact. But it will be deposited into a bank account, and you can see all the bank statements. I'll open up a bank account just with that. And once the money comes out of that bank account, then I'll show you all the process, everything. But I'm not going to open myself up, to levels of unreasonable, proving. But just the common curiosity, or the casual glance when I'm showing you executions on TradingView, it should readily communicate that there's something different that I'm doing that you don't see everyone else doing. And that's all I'm trying to say. There might be somebody out there better than me. I might be wrong. I might be thinking that I know a lot and I'm better than anybody else in terms of execution and management. And then someone else comes out and says, look at this, and they're doing it on TradingView. My question is, just like I'm posing it to everyone else out there that is looking at what I do and have a suspective criticism about what it is I'm doing. Oh, you're cheating, or you're gaming the system. I'm not using an MT4 platform, and there's no way I could game or rig or manipulate TradingView. I mean, you see it. You see me entering it. It's not, here's my orders that were already done. No, I'm executing in the recording live. You can see the time always down here, and it's never the replay button. So I pose this to all of you in this community on YouTube that likes to follow people that are teaching, or maybe they're selling mentorships or courses. Yeah, I'm going to teach you this, I'm going to teach you that. Okay, all of them should be put through a litany test of, okay, go to TradingView. Don't show me your MT4 screenshots. Okay, I've said this for the year, a year or more, okay, coming out saying, look, I'm tired of seeing it because too many people get clout off of no proof. I can show you how to read price action. That's what I promise. That's my flagship here. I promise that skill set. If you spend enough time here with me, you're going to learn how to do that. You don't need to buy other people's courses. You can save your money, save all the heartache, and not get scammed ever if you just spend the time working on the things I tell you what to do. But if I can't prove that I can see it before it happens and engage and show you with precision entries, with the logic behind it that I teach, then you should not be watching my videos. You should not be looking at anything I say or believing anything I say, because if I've never shown you evidence to the fact, then why should you take my word for it? Think. I'm doing it every week. I'm showing you every single week. How many more do you need to see? I'm going to keep doing it, but how many more do you need to see? The button's getting pushed here, and I have no fear and no problem going into a live account. The difference is, you're not going to see me do this live. Like, I'm not going to go in a live session and do live trading with a live account. I'm not going to open myself up to that liability. I can trade a live account and I can show statements and deposits into a bank. That's not a big deal. But it needs to be presented in such a way where I'm not using that to entice students, because I don't ever, ever, ever do that. When people come to me, as soon as they read the non-disclosure agreement and the enrollment agreement to come into my mentorship, the first thing they see, this is not a signal service. I'm not going to go in and sit down in front of the charts and say, we're buying here, putting a stop here, and take your profits here with a live account. There's no secret language. There's no code words. This means to buy and this means to sell. None of that stuff. We're only studying price action. At some point, my students get to a level where they determine that they're willing. I don't ever say go into live account trading, but they will get to a point where they'll say, I feel comfortable with reading price action, and they go into trading live. But if you're doing that before at least 1 year of study, you're really being foolish, because you need to understand the money cycle that takes place every single calendar year, a minimum, and then after that, slowly work towards working for consistency, and then dabbling with a very, very small account balance, not with a large account balance. But you have to spend a lot of time with theory and logic, and most people are not willing to submit to that, just like college degrees. Everybody would like to have some of, not anymore because the jobs are scarce, but it used to be 20, 30 years ago, everyone would be excited about going to college, but most people didn't have the money or the funds to afford it. But the main thing was, they didn't want to put the 4 years or 6 years for the master's degree to get that certification, to allow them in the door to potentially market themselves for those high-paying jobs. This is no different. Okay, I'm not giving you something that's going to be easy. It's not easy. I might make it look easy, but it's only because of my experience doing it. But when my students come in under my tutelage, they see just how hard this is. It is hard. So if you're one of the huge number of people that responded to the email address I posted on my community tab, because we're allowing people to come in and reserve their seats, because I have to see how much of a response I'm getting, and I have to prepare for that and bring in staff to work with that overload of people coming in. And we already see there's a lot of people wanting to come in. So that's the reason why I'm doing it. I'm not disappearing. There's no one shutting my YouTube channel down. I'm not running from anyone. So I want you to understand that. Okay. There ain't nobody I'm afraid of. I'm not worried about nothing. The government sees what my videos say, and I'm on record, recordings every single week before it happens. Okay. I have federal people in my mentorship. Hello. Wasn't waiting for that one, was you? So here's the point. If folks that are willing to say, I have something you want to learn, and it's trading, okay, go on to TradingView and show how that works in your hands. What do you do with the chart when it happens to show an opportunity? Because I've never been impressed with just numbers saying how much they made. Big inflated numbers, $50,000 per trade and such. Okay, listen. If they were showing those kind of results, they would show those kind of results in a bank statement. Ain't no big deal to show a bank statement. Sign on to your app on the phone, say this is where it got deposited. And you can see, here's the brokerage firm, deposited, received from this brokerage firm. It's a simple matter of doing that. But we don't see that. Nobody does that. So that's why they don't do it here. Okay, because the first thing is, well, if you can prove you can do it here, then now go back and show us all those screenshots that you put on Instagram, Discord, Telegram, all those places where frauds operate. We would be expected you to say, okay, well, you said you made that money and you pulled a withdrawal out of there. See, I trolled on Twitter. Okay, I showed how it's easy to make people believe that you're making money. And I literally took a screen capture of an MT4 printout, and I took some numbers and I moved them around. And it wasn't Photoshop. I was just using it with Paint, MS Paint. And I put it up there. And I said, yeah, man, living a lifestyle. You know, that, I don't even remember exactly what. There's a couple of people that have that tweet back then. But I did a lot of trolling and a lot of stunts. And it was basically making fun of the people that show withdrawals when they're not really withdrawals. Because I don't have that MT4 Manager program. Because if I had the MT4 Manager program, I could have showed the negative symbol that's associated with taking a $3 million withdrawal from the account. But my MS Paint didn't have the negative symbol on it. So right away, that disqualifies me in terms of having a MT4 Manager program where I can go in and show all that stuff. Then when I showed a live account that was really live account through Forex.com, and when I was using it through MT4, and I haven't exhausted where I'm going with this, but I want you to understand, because I want to kind of clear the air with this, because I have an opinion about MT4. I don't think it's 100% fraudulent. I'm just saying the people that say they're profitable traders and they sell education or whatever, or pretend to be rich, those individuals have a burden of proof that needs to be satisfied in the public eye, I think. I might be wrong. Maybe I'm, expecting something that I'm not entitled to. But I think it just bodes well now, especially in the environment that we have, because Adam Webb did a really good job of exposing it last year. I mean, he made it very clear on Twitter. And once I saw that, I'm like, okay, how do I rise up above that? Because I don't want anybody believing that's how I do it. I really take the trades. I enter the trades. So I moved away from MT4. So I've trolled in the past. I've took, stuff and hooked it up to MT4 accounts and put it to my FX book, and I tanked the account on purpose. Because I know those websites have so many people using trade copier programs, and if I have a winning system, which I believe I do, everyone would be hooked up to it. And then they could be selling that. And that sounds like conspiracy. It sounds like, oh, it's so far-fetched. But that's why I don't do a MyFX book, because if I hook up to a MyFX book, the people that work over at MyFX book, they're in business. They're absolutely in business, as you'll see today. because my trades are more likely to pan out because they're really linked to the logic behind how the algorithm delivers price each day. To answer all the uncertainties and the confusion or the distrust that was surfacing back when I was on Twitter, I moved to this platform because it's not MT4. And if there's anybody out there that can show how anyone can manipulate tradingview.com, because that's what this is. I mean, this is their platform. This would expose me because I'm executing on this platform. Okay. It's not a broker. It's just using a particular broker, Forex.com, their feed. Now I can go in here and use Oanda. I can go in here and trade with whatever other ones that they listed I showed before I clicked on this one. But their data is being piped into this platform. I don't have a way to go in and manipulate an entry where I'm getting in here and getting out down here. I don't have a way of doing that. And the way I remove all doubt, okay, because if I can't show you this, okay, if I can't show you how to execute and show how it looks, like if this was a live trade, which everyone knows it's not. It's not. This is a paper trading application. It's this thing down here, okay? That paper trading function is a way for you to learn and practice without you hurting yourself. That's important, folks. It's crucial for you to develop properly because you're not going to be influenced by the fear and the greed. You won't be fearful of executing because you're not worried about if that decision's wrong because money won't leave that account because it's hypothetical money. As an educator, I push really hard for that framework because you cannot learn as a newbie, okay? You cannot learn. And you see all these people. There's a guy on Instagram. I think he deleted his thing, but he's now on YouTube. Small channel, small guy. Claims he's a pastor, and he claims himself he's the world's greatest Forex trader. And he has a video where he says, "I don't believe in demo accounts. I think that you need to learn how to trade with live funds." And as soon as I hear that, I'm like, okay, the video's getting turned off. I can't listen to someone that says that. And that's the most irresponsible thing any educator can say. There's so much theory and logic that you have to understand about why these markets book the way they do. It's foolish. It's just downright stupid for you to think that you can watch a couple videos or watch a webinar or a seminar or go to a workshop even and then walk out of there thinking you know how to trade. You have no idea how you're going to feel when you put the trade on, even in demo. I have students that are watching my YouTube videos. They're not in mentorship. They're just watching the YouTube videos. And they tell me they have anxiety when they put a demo trade on. Now, you might laugh and you might think to yourself, wow, that's really, that's terrible. That's what this industry does. It's a big mirror. And it will reflect and show you who you really are. And the thing is, most of you, the males, the young men, they come to this industry thinking they're going to come in here and conquer it, and there it is. I was scared to death when I first started. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know that this level of consistency was available. I just wanted to be right once in a while. That leads to me eventually retiring at 40. That was my game plan. It was a long time horizon before I got to my destination. So I was already building in the idea that this is going to be, take a lot of work. And some of you hear that and thinking, well, I ain't doing that because I see these people on Instagram and they're making $100,000 per trade. And I'm telling you, they're not. They're not doing that because if they did that, they would show that money go right to a bank account and then take that money out of the bank and buy something with it. There's no denying it then. There's absolutely no denying that. So how do I fit in all this? I come to this platform on TradingView. I teach through this. My students see me outline where I think it's going to go, and I'm very specific about it. In recent weeks, because of the consolidation the markets have been in, I have been very clear and specific about how we are in a very difficult trading environment for the short term because we're in a large consolidation. But because of that, I have to still tell them where I believe the market's going to go. And I said that the market was likely to go higher on dollar to those relative equal highs on the daily chart. So that sets the stage for runs lower on foreign currency. So if I can show you proof, evidence that I can execute or push the button, it matters not if it's a live account or not, because if I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to fail pushing this button because it's the same data. Anyone out there that wants to put money up, live money, lots of money, okay, for me to dance for that, to prove, then yeah, $75,000 was suggested, and I'm waiting for that to happen because that's what you'll get with that. But you're not going to get that because these people out here aren't prepared to deal with someone like me, because I'm doing what it is that they ask for, and it still doesn't answer. This is why I said back on Baby Pets when they were asking me to do all this and do all that, and I'm like, it's not going to answer it. I'm still going to have 10, 20 different people say, well, but you didn't do this, but you didn't do this. So I'm not going to live my life like that. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to provide to you what it is I feel is ample evidence. And I'm already on record as to what I believe is going to happen. If I'm not saying the truth, people would be making videos and calling me out and saying, no, ICT, in the mentorship, you said this, 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 and this, and this. And guess what? I would be exposed. That doesn't happen. Why doesn't that happen? Because all of these people, the thousands of people that sit down every single week, they see me do it right. And when I'm uncertain, I'm honest. And I say, I don't know right now, and I need to have more information. But I tell them where I still believe it's going, right then and there, gun to my head all the time. I have to cosign every single time. I'm still in the 90%. It's not bragging. I'm just saying that is a testimony to experience. That's what's lacking in this industry. You see all these people, and you probably see it on my videos. When you click my video, this guy comes on here. What? Did you really think you were going to learn how to trade on YouTube? Real traders don't put videos on YouTube. Well, I'm a real trader, and I'm putting out the best information there is on trading. And you get to test drive it for free. But what happens when I start this whole process of proving and proving and proving? It becomes a never-ending ordeal. Okay, it never ends, because somebody else will come to the channel and say, "Oh yeah, but you don't do this." I'm not going to jump through everybody's hoop. That's what I'm not going to do. You have the burden of debunking what I'm proving here on TradingView. MT4 has already left the building. Okay, we're not even talking about MT4. I'm not one of those clowns that do that. So I went and opened up a demo account with IG.com, and I mistakenly, in yesterday's video, I can't remember if I made this clear or not earlier, but I mistakenly referred to them as interactive brokers, and that's a mistake on my part. So I'm going to edit the description box under the video, annotating that I mistakenly call that platform interactive brokers. The reason why is because I look up and I see IG, and I've always referred to interactive brokers as IB. I just ran with it. I don't know why I said it and what I did, but it doesn't change the fact that that's not an MT4 platform. That's an executed trade. It's highly precise, and it's right there from the entry to exit. Debunk it. Debunk what I'm showing on TradingView. Okay? There's a lot of things out here that are going to hurt you. And if you just take a minute just to consider how I teach and how I teach it on this YouTube channel, I do everything with safety in mind. First and foremost, mine. I'm not going to extend myself out to a point where I'm not entering an area where I'm expected to be certified. Okay? If I'm talking about demo price action in a demo account, I don't need to be registered as a CTA to do that. We're talking about something you can't take money or take money from you by doing. There's safety in that. That's why I do it. That doesn't hide me Okay, doesn't hide me from the burden of proving theory or concepts, because I do that here. Listen, there is no secret execution examples in my mentorship. All of my executions are always public on this YouTube channel. Yeah, I do it that way because when the regulators do look into me, this is what everyone sees. I'm not enticing anyone into, here's the real secret trades. No. If I'm going to execute, I'm going to share it and publicly put it on this YouTube channel. That's it. I wear everything out in the open. It's simple as that. I tell you it's a demo. I don't lie to you about that. I'm very clear about it because I'm a proponent. I believe that it is critical for anyone that's even considering trading in the future with live funds. They need to spend a lot of time in this environment because you're going to learn a lot about yourself. You're going to learn about price and how are you influenced by the fluctuations in these charts, because they're like mirrors. They're going to show you something in you that many times is the problem. You're the problem. You are the problem. It's not me, the mentor. It's not the concepts. You are. Oh, I'm going to hear somebody going to use this part in the video and make a big case out of it. But it's the truth. Because you probably are bringing in preconceived ideas and treasured concepts and applications, and you think that this should plug and play and make that better. When very well-meaning people are operating, YouTube channels with Forex, and you listen to me and it sounds like I'm bashing them on the rocks. And I'm not really, unless I specifically come out and say this particular person or that particular channel, I'm not really thinking of anyone in particular except for the grand scheme of retail logic, because it's flawed. The way I interpret price is the way I teach it. And if I can't execute on the basis of the things that I teach, then you have no business listening to me. I should not be listened to. I should not be followed. I should not be believed. But I do push the button. You see it. When the chart is naked like this to the point where the order's entered, please tell me how that's faked. It's not just here. I did it in an IG account. I've done it on MT4. Okay, but to avoid all of the fear that I could possibly be scamming you, I've done this, okay? Every single day, I could sit down here and put an example up every day. If I do that every single day, without fail, I'm going to eventually have a losing trade. I don't believe that day trading is everyday trading. There are times when the market is really predisposed to go one direction, and it's so set up perfectly that I can see the setups. My students can see the setups before they come to fruition. That's experience. But you need to see it over and over and over again. And what does it look like? Because if you can see what it looks like, then when you watch my examples, you can see what I see forming. And then when I engage, it makes more sense to you. And you don't need to see a live account. You don't need to see my $100,000 cars. You don't need to see that. You don't need to see my $65,000 watches. You don't need to see that either. You don't need to see my closet full with clothes I probably will never ever wear. You don't need to see all the shoes that I own because I'm probably never going to wear all them either. That doesn't mean anything. If I believed that that mattered or had an influence over whether or not you're going to be successful, it would be in my YouTube videos. But it doesn't. It distracts because you have a lot of work here. You got to learn a lot, and most of it's about you. Figure out what you're going to do to derail yourself. And if you can identify those things and hopefully make a replacement or completely remove that idea that would derail your success or at least prolong it, then you have a chance. It's not a guarantee, but you have a good chance of getting here. But most people fail at that stage because they don't like the pain of seeing that they're the problem. They're the reason why they lost their job. They're the reason why they can't find success in anything they do. And they're the ones that always complain chronically that, oh, I always got a bad rap. Oh, I got a bad string of luck. I got a black cloud riding over top me. It's always them coming after me. I'm always a victim. If you think like that, I'm telling you right now, you're going to fail. You're going to fail at this because this is extremely hard. And what makes it hard is you have to compete with yourself initially. And then eventually, when you identify the problems that you bring to the table and you remove that or correct it in your way of thinking, that's the natural order. That's the process that everyone goes through. But 90% of those people that fail, that's where they stop because they don't like that discovery of who they really are. And I bring that to the forefront in this YouTube video. Well, not this, well, maybe so much this one, yeah, but most of the other videos, I bring that to light because that's what's missing in all of these educators. They don't have a way of communicating that because they don't want you to get up and walk out of their seminars. They don't want you to turn off the video. I don't mind if you turn it. Most of you probably have gotten sick and tired of me talking. You probably sped the video up and now scrubbed forward. But this is the stuff you need to hear. But nobody really wants to hear that because they think, show me the pattern and I'll be able to duplicate it and repeat it. Just like educators watch my videos and they think, I'll just say what he says, change a little bit of this and change a little bit of that in the name, and then I'll be able to get credit for being a smart educator. And they'll think I'm making lots of money too. No. There's a litany test that everyone should go through. Go to a public forum like this, TradingView, execute on it. Not just one time, do it weekly. Every single week, do it for a couple months. And then maybe you should be listened to. But if you're talking about stuff that I took a trade here, I took a trade, and you listen to them, they say, yeah, I think I took a trade. I think it was somewhere in here. I know where I got in at. I know where I entered. I know where my partials are. I'm not going to forget about it. I'm not going to be, I'm unsure where the trade was where I just took. We're talking about the same day these people are making these videos. It's disgusting. It's disgusting to see that stuff. So this is the reason why I do it. I don't need to do this, folks. Listen, before I came back to YouTube this year, I'm making lots of money just through mentorship. I never, ever, 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 ever need to worry about placing a live trade ever again. That's how much money I've made in the mentorship. I'm not bragging. I'm just making you understand where's the incentive for me to go and put money into a live account and trade it. Where is the incentive for that? I don't need to do that. All it's doing is adding more money to me in taxes. It's just, it's stupid. At some point, it's dumb. So I still do this to prove I can within the realm of the legal limits that I'm under. I'm not certified to give trade advice. I am absolutely free to talk about price action in a demo account. That's completely spelled out in our agreement when you enroll. You know that I'm only going to talk about demo trading. You know I'm only going to talk about hypothetical results because that's what the requirement is for the laws. I have to state those things. I'm never being looked at as, look, he made $50,000 on that trade and that was live funds. No one comes to me and sees that and says, oh yeah, he has made live money with that. They understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm showing that I can execute, I can push the button, okay? But no one else is doing it. I have worn this crown of demo baller since the days on Baby Pips, 2010. And it's not been a hindrance on thousands of people coming in and learning how to read price action before it happens with a level of precision that's unrivaled. But there's going to be times, never thought I'd get to this point, did you? There's going to be times where if you were in front of the chart, you would have executed, but you missed that moment. You missed the entry up here. What can you do? Well, you can use a limit order and wait for the market to drive back up into this swing, but then work inside of this range here. This down close candle extended out in time. If it trades to and above it, above up to what? There's the body of that candle right here. What's the close on that candle? 117.37.4. What's the high on that candle? 117.37.4. That's perfection, folks. I'm not looking at this, okay? I'm not looking at that level saying, oh yeah, that's support, broken, turn resistance. Even though, yes, that's in effect what's going on here. When I'm looking at price, I'm looking at price going right back to the body of that candle right there, because that's a mitigation block. What's actually occurring there? If everyone that's trading the euro dollar here, the market's dropping down, you know as well as I do, because I used to do this back when I was a commodity trader back in the 90s. When the market started dropping, I would chase it and go short then, because I didn't want to be left behind, because if it moved, at least I was part of it. Well, that's what's occurring here. Traders are seeing this big move and dropping down here. They're going short. So who's taking the other side of that trade? A bank. It's not always another trader. A bank is offering that liquidity. So if the retail trader is selling short, they're selling to have the other side of that trade filled as a counterparty. It needs to be someone that wants to buy. So they're buying. The bank is buying here to facilitate and provide the liquidity to the traders that are chasing this going lower, and they're selling short. So this last candle here sets the stage for a turning point that we can see here. Now, while the market's rallying up, this delivery of price is also being met with what? Counterparty delivery on the bank level. Those same traders that are buying, thinking it's going to go up from here, the bank has to do what? It's not always another trader. The bank has to provide the liquidity there. So the market's going up, 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 and they're selling liquidity to the buyers here. This whole time, this area here, the orders that they used to be counterparties to the longs here, they're okay with that because they're selling that liquidity to them. So if the market does break this low, it's okay, they're fine. But what about the orders that were in here? They were buying to the sellers. When the market's going up, they're making a profit, but they may not have gotten an opportunity in terms of time to get all of it off at this point here or during this rally up. So they're holding longs that they offered in all of this delivery here. When the market breaks this low here, it stays below it, allowing bank traders to get out of their longs that they used for liquidity purposes. That is what a mitigation block is. Now, that's not me teaching mentorship. That's just giving you a public level description of it. Pulling it out and showing you, and then working with examples and then building other things around this particular candle. That's mentorship. Okay, so I had two people email me about the most recent video I did where it was an advanced lesson. I said that was something that a charter member would see. They were concerned. They're not charter members, but they're like, Michael, I'm paying for this and you're teaching everything on YouTube. No, I'm not. I'm demonstrating. That's it. Teaching is much more broad and deeper in the scope of what it is that's going on. And just because I've outlined what a mitigation block is here, it doesn't necessarily mean that people watching this video are going to be able to go to tomorrow's price action and use that information, because there's other logic behind all of this that has to be considered as well. And again, that's what mentorship is. It's not, I have all the videos and I know his mentorship. No, you don't. You have videos that just introduce something. I have not yet exhausted anything. But I want you to understand what I'm looking at here when you watch me put the trade on, because I do have a recording and you can see me entering here, not on the basis of a market order. It's a limit order. I'm waiting for it to come up into it and fill. My fill is 117.36. Now, why is it 117.36 and not exactly at 117.37 and 4 pipettes like the low here, or I'm sorry, the close here, 117.37 and 4 pipettes. Why didn't I have my limit order right there? Because it might not have hit that 1 pipette. So I dropped down 1 full pip to allow for as much as I possibly can expect to get to, and then watch it trade lower. Now, here's the thing that you need to think about. You see me adjust my stop and bring it down. Now, everyone's familiar with this little area now because of me talking about it, and even Chris Lorry's talked about it too. And they'll say, oh, that's a liquidity void, and price needs to come back up there and fill that. No, it does not. It does not need to do that. That's what mentorship teaches. A mentor that understands the delivery of price knows when these things are expected to be filled and when they're not expected to be filled. That's what separates me from that of Chris Lorry. And that's not a knock against him. I firmly believe that if you went to him, you would learn how to trade price action. I believe that he does an adequate job of doing that. But that's not all there is. Okay, so I want you to understand that. And he's the only other person in this industry that I point to and say, if you don't want to learn from me, fine, that's not a problem. Check out Chris Lorry. And he does not pay me. He doesn't, there's no connection. There's no business arrangement. Okay, I just believe the man is worth listening to. Simple. Okay, so if you don't like me or like my trading teaching style, then go to him. He's nowhere near as aggressive as I can be sometimes. But as the market trades above this low and into the close of that candle, I'm anticipating that being the turning point. Not because this was support broken term resistance. All the logic that is outlined right now, that was the real reason why this level should even act as resistance at all. Now, you don't find that level of description and outline about support and resistance in books because they don't know it. It's just find a low, find a high, and let's hope it works. I don't look at turning points in the charts and say, I hope this turns here. There's a lot of evidence behind why I'm picking a particular level, like my order blocks. Everybody's out here making order block videos, and I'm getting videos links sent to me. This guy's teaching order blocks, and I watch the video. That's not teaching order blocks. Come on now. That he might call it an order block, okay, or they call it an institutional candle, but it's not even right. It's not right. They'll talk about where they can see it on the left side of the chart, but they can't find the right ones on the hard right side edge of the chart. That's where I'm at. That's what makes me ICT. I'm different because of that. I can do that, and I can execute it here and prove to you that I can see it before it happens. So if you missed the ideal move, see, you thought I forgot where I was going. When you see these moves here and you miss them, don't freak out, because the idea is this is the low down here, that line that we outlined from the daily chart. Okay, that's where the price is likely to draw down to. So if it goes down to this point here, isn't it reasonable to expect, if you were going short in anywhere in here, and if it rode down to this level here, isn't that a tradable range? In other words, if you went short here and you were trying to get out here, what makes that a poor choice for a short? Nothing. Nothing makes that a poor choice for a short, except for, well, I missed this move here and now I'm scared. Or ICT's made videos where talking about trading it down here short, that's chasing price. No, this is not chasing price. I'm waiting for price to come up to my order, to my price. I sell short when price is going up. I buy when price is dropping. I have to do that because what I'm doing is I'm mimicking smart money. What is smart money? The bank traders? No. Let me just clear the air there too. There are bank traders, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. Okay, they're bank traders. They do not operate with what I teach, period. Now, I've had people from those places come to me as students now, and they'll tell you, if we were sitting in a room, that what you're learning is not institutionally trained when you go to those places. In fact, you can actually listen to these types of people on YouTube, and they'll say the things that occur in intraday charts is noise, it's nonsense. There's no way of measuring supply and demand. It's just con man job. It's if anybody tells you that they can see that stuff, run away from them. They're a con man. They're lying. I'm here every week saying, look at this. Because they are not thinking with an algorithm thought process. They're thinking in terms of valuation and supply and demand, which neither of those two things are even factored into how the algorithm works. What did you just say? Yeah. Rewind it. I prove this stuff every single week. It's not moving because of buying and selling pressure. It's not. It's controlled. It's manipulated. When I say smart money, I'm saying that the traders above the bank level traders, the interbank traders, the people that are working with this information that I'm making public. That's why I sit out here and ridicule everyone that says, yeah, I'm from prop shop this, I'm a former Goldman Sachs this, and I'm a former JP Morgan that. Okay. Keep up with me. Trust me, these people, when they communicate with me, they're saying, this is unbelievable. Like what you're talking about and proving and showing and pointing to before it happens, no one's doing that. And I know that Sky ICT does. So all you have to do is investigate it. Check it out, see for yourself, test it. But how do you use limit orders to get in here and not just simply chase it going short? Anywhere from the close of this candle down to the low, if you put a sell limit order in there, okay, and your stop has to be above this area here, because it could go into this a little bit like it did here. It could have went a little bit deeper into this candle here. If my stop was really ultra tight, like you see some people on Instagram saying, yeah, I use 3 pip stop losses. No, you don't. And I got $1 million of real currency says you don't. Because if you're putting a 3 pip stop loss in your trades, the bank, or not the bank, but the broker can open the spread up on that and get you. And that's reasonable. And there ain't nothing you can do about it. When you sign up, you're giving them permission that you understand that when it's advantageous for them, they're not saying it like this, but that's what the wording is. Take it to a lawyer if you think I'm lying. But when it's advantageous for them to do so, they can open the spreads up and take your 3 pip stop loss. So don't believe these people that are, oh, I'm trading with 3 pip stop losses. No, you're not. No, you're not. 10 pips is about as low as I go. And most of the time it's a 15 pip stop loss, to be fair. I'm fluffing it up a little bit with 5 pips in addition to what I think may not move 10 pips. I'm still going to use a 15 pip because I know the likelihood of me getting stopped out is still there because of the broker. The broker still is a entity that looks to make money. And if it's not always them trying to get you out of the order for the sake of you losing money, but that's how they get commission, the turnover. Okay, so if they push you out of the trade, they're not always on the other side of your trade taking that as a profit. That's always constantly be referred to. Oh yeah, the broker's getting me. He's taking my money. He's taking the transaction costs of you moving out of the marketplace with your stop loss. Okay, so that's the mechanism that's at work. So it's not that the brokers are villains. They're not. They're required. They're middlemen. So we should not be vilifying brokers in the basis of how they were operating when foreign exchange became open to the public years ago. Okay, almost 20 years ago or so. Because it was a Wild Wild West scenario back then, and it was really terrible, the fraud that was going on, opening up 20, 30 pips. It was some wild stuff going on, but we don't have that anymore. Okay, but before I get into the limit order, I want to say this, and then I have answered it. The idea of MT4, okay, if you're going to be a teacher, you should prove yourself effective in seeing price action moves and executing and engaging price outside of MT4, only because it's been made apparent last year. Okay, everyone kind of figured it was going on, but no one really saw it. And even for me, I didn't see it until Adam Webb did it. That idea of it could be going on, wouldn't you want to remove that from your viewership? Like, I don't want my viewership to ever doubt that I can do this. Because if you doubt that, you're not going to really focus on the lessons like this video here. There's a lot of good information in this video right now. But if you're hung up on this guy's a fraud, this guy's a fraud, this guy's a fraud, this guy's a fraud, then you're missing all the point. But if you are teaching, or you're selling a mentorship, or you're teaching a course, and you're trying to collect money for that, you're obligated now to show executions on a non-MT4 platform. And here's where I'm dividing the group once we state that. You don't necessarily have to do it with a live account. Not to satisfy me, because if you could do it on TradingView a couple weeks in a row, that would satisfy that to me, that at least you can engage and manage a trade. Use a stop at the beginning and manage it appropriately and get to a target and pay yourself. Then great. I wouldn't have a problem with something like that. I would love to watch that. I love watching that, no matter who it is trading. I don't want to see people fail, but when they do it right, I love that. It's inspirational to me, and I still get inspired by other people when they really do a good job of trading. But I'm only seeing it after it happens. I would love to see people watching, them do it like I do on this YouTube channel. But does that same stigmatism about MT4 apply to you as a developing student? No. Now, here's the great divide, okay? Because right now, there's a young lady, and I'm assuming she's young because she said she was young, but the information on the internet says she's just 6 years younger than me. And that's none of my business, but I just find it interesting. But nonetheless, she makes a case against all these traders that are teaching, and I say traders loosely because I don't know if they really trade. But if you sell education, and I have now just been recently lumped into this, I've been proving myself outside of an MT4 platform for a long time, and I have no problem continuing. I'm not going away. I don't shy away from that kind of stuff, and I'm certainly not going to be exposed to the point where I'm shamed. I'm going to go away because I'm honest. I tell everybody what's up and how I'm operating and what they're going to be expected to get from me. But the great divide, okay, when you listen to people that are trying to expose other people, which I think is really not a problem, because if there's someone scamming, they should be exposed. They should be warning the public that, be careful with this person, okay, because they are a known scammer, or they frauded this person or that person. Not just take the word on it, but investigate. And that's why I said, look into what I'm teaching you here, okay? I don't dangle cash in front of you. I don't try to do that. So if someone says MT4 is a scam, and I believe it is a scam when it's used by educators, because they're only showing you the post-trade results, and there was no logic behind the trade. You don't see anything saying, or showing clearly that they entered the trade, not an entry that was made off of a chart where you see the order go in, you see the stop go in, and the target's there, and they manage that. That is not MT4 manipulation, okay? Not if the orders are placed before the moves happen and then it goes through and pans out. That's not MT4 manipulation. I did those types of examples, but because a lot of people come into this industry, and now many of you are coming in, and you're really greenhorns. That means you're new, like you're really, really new. You could easily say, okay, because he's using MT4 in the past, he's a scammer, because I have seen this happen. To avoid the confusion, I want you to understand why MT4 is not a complete scam, okay? And I want you to understand and listen to this because this is the real balanced view of it. And it's not my interpretation, or it's just the facts. If you look at other quote-unquote institutional brokerage firms like TD Waterhouse or E-Trade or Tasty Trades or anybody else out there, they all have a very uniform and low hanging threshold that you have to meet in terms of opening an account. And honestly, most people, when they get involved in Forex, they don't have a lot of money. They don't have it. So those brokerage firms are not approachable for 90% of people that are dabbling, okay, or interested initially in Forex. So why I never go out and say, go to Oanda, go to Forex.com, go to Joe Schmo's brokerage firm, okay? I do say this: use a regulated broker in the U.S. Who are regulated brokers? Well, I just mentioned two of them: Forex.com, Oanda. Okay, those two brokerage firms I have opened up accounts with in the past. I have had those accounts closed because they discovered I was allowing my sons to trade them. I wanted them to test the theories, and they were the ones operating. And I made a mistake of saying I did that on the phone with one of the guys when I had an issue with the account. And he says, "So you're not trading the account?" I said, "No, it's just my 16-year-old. Right away, they said, "Okay." They ended the phone call, and that was it. The account was closed, and it was done. And they sent me the balance in a check. Because of regulation, only the trader that opens the account up is allowed legally to trade that account. But as a dad, I was thinking, well, it's my money. If they lose it, who cares? So if you are looking at MT4 now, because of all the stigmatism that's placed around it, there is absolutely no reason for you to think that Forex.com or Oanda are bad guys, okay? I have no affiliation to Forex.com. I have no affiliation to Oanda. I am not an introducing broker. I get nothing for saying these things. But what I'm telling you is I'm giving you the antithesis to what everything is being promoted right now. Everything MT4 is a scam. No, it's not, okay? You may only have $100 or $200 or whatever, okay? Some of these brokerage firms will allow you to open up with considerably less money than an E-Trade account, a TD Waterhouse, or I don't use them. I'm just kind of using the names that's being thrown around right now, okay? Interactive brokers, for instance. Like, you can't go to Interactive Brokers and say, yeah, I got $500, can I open up an account to trade Forex? They're going to say, no, they ain't got time for that, okay? So you have this great chasm of divide between those types of brokerage firms, which are absolutely reputable. There's nothing wrong with them either. It's just they have a higher threshold of entry that you have to meet as a trader, okay? So if you're learning how to trade Forex and you're thinking that the only way to do this properly and not get scammed is you have to go to these high-end brokerage firms, that's not true. You should be open to the idea of using a Forex.com or a Oanda account where they have a lower entry threshold in terms of how much money is required to open up your account. Those brokerage firms are more appropriate for 90% of the Forex community that just gets involved, okay? So hopefully that has answered a lot of confusion about this mess that's being stirred up by a young lady in Florida. MT4 is not a scam when you're the one placing your money in a regulated broker here in the States, because guess what, ma'am? There are regulated brokers here that still operate on MT4, Forex.com and Oanda. But as an educator, I'm in agreement with her that, yes, educators should be showing executions and pushing the button like you see me doing here on TradingView, which is a non-MT4 platform. And I would love to find someone that can game this because I would be interested to see how they're doing it. And if they did, I'd have to come off of this and do something else entirely. But the point is this. There's always going to be people out here that's going to doubt. There's always going to be people out here that have naysayer attitudes. There's going to be toxic, especially now in today's society. There's this monstrous, this gross feeling of entitlement. You need to show me. You need to show me. Only people that need to show are people that are educating and collecting money. And I do what I believe is absolutely reasonable. I'm here on TradingView. I show you the executions. I show you the logic. And now I've even outlined what I was using before the fact, okay? Why the limit order was placed there. Why I had my stop there, Okay, why I was looking for it to go down to this level down here. I outlined that for you here. Okay, but it's altogether something different when you watch me put the order in and you see the alerts over here showing that it's absolutely going into this platform. You see it. It's not a going into a MT4 backroom manager program where you can go in and enter that you entered this many lot sizes at that particular time of the day in that particular currency with a particular stop loss, and then all of a sudden you look like you did that trade. I don't stand on that kind of fraud. I don't do anything like that. Any example I ever show is public. It's on this YouTube channel, and it's done in a way where you see me enter. You don't see me already in a trade. That is fraud. That is when you see that, you should right away turn the video off, or at least give that person the opportunity to show them entering the trade. Maybe it didn't make its way into the video. Maybe, anything can happen in editing. Okay, I'm not saying all editing is bad. Sometimes I've made videos where I wanted something that was annotated on my chart. It just wasn't in the capture of the recording because it was on another time frame. So things happen. Just like I made a mistake in calling IG Interactive Brokers. We're all human. But if someone is real, okay, if they're genuine and they're sincere about what they're doing, give them the opportunity to make good on it. Because if they're willing to do it, give them that opportunity to show you what they're doing is real. If it's real, you can do it on TradingView. In fact, I'm looking at this platform every week as it goes by, and I'm really impressed with the level of consideration they've put into developing this. Like, it really is a good platform to I don't know how to link on a live account. I haven't done that, obviously, but the tools that they make available to you for free is great. But some of the features they have dialed back because they want you to pay for. Like, I have a pro account, which isn't all that much money. I think it was like less than $200 for the whole year. But you can do other things that you can't do, and you don't have any ads popping up, which is annoying. That's another thing I like looking at when you see these other guys educating. They're making all this money, but they don't even have a pro version, and they keep ads popping up over here. It's just one of those pet peeves I have. But nonetheless, hopefully I've covered a lot of things in this video, and maybe I talked again too much, but I have answered a lot of questions and addressed some concerns that are noteworthy. Okay, they're noteworthy. And my question is this: if you're on the fence about me, think about what it is I'm showing you here. All right, think about that. Think about the fact that I'm not just executing market orders. I'm using now limit orders because I understand the concepts. If I understand the concepts, I should be able to show them. And when I show them, that in my mind should be at least an encouragement to trust the process. Okay, I don't want you to think about me saying, oh yeah, he made $10,000, or he made $300 here, or he made $600 here. Okay, take the money out of it. It's not, all I'm doing is showing you engagement, operating within a context in price action. That is something that I know and my students know that repeats. Does it work flawlessly? No. If I sat down here and did every single New York session, every single day of the week, invariably I would have a losing trade. Period. But here's the problem with that expectation. Number one, it's not reasonable because I have a life. Okay, I have a life. There's things I'm doing. My kids are home. I have to be a dad. I have to be a husband. There's so many things going on, and I have students always emailing me. Like, I don't have time to be dancing for everyone out here. But I am under the assumption that new traders or new viewers will come, and I want them to know that that type of evidence, if you will, is here. And it is in existence, in contrary to what everyone else is doing on YouTube. They're always talking about, yeah, I took a trade. Or they'll talk about how the market operated. I'm showing you entries and management. So I'm doing my best within the reason and scope of my free time not being completely consumed. I'm providing you examples every single week. Okay. And for those that end up joining my mentorship and those that are in my mentorship, you all know that we are looking at this side of the marketplace. We're not looking to go long euro. We're looking for that higher move in dollar. And it's going to be a mirror image in foreign currencies. And that would be lower prices in euro. And we were looking for this level to be traded to on euro. So it's not like, oh yeah, he's got 15 different demo accounts and he's just showing the one that worked. Because that kind of stuff is debunked once you are in the community and you see it. Because if that was true, there would be thousands of people coming out and saying, oh no, he's a liar because this is what he said. Okay, that's the real expose of ICT. The people that are sitting with me every single week. And since 2016, August 2016, thousands of people have come in to the fold. And they literally see this happening every single week. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying get here, buy here, sell it. I'm saying this is where the market's going to draw. Watch this area in here. It might come back to this level here. And you fill in the blanks with what you've learned up to the level in the mentorship teachings. But the mentorship is me sitting down and pointing to where it's going to go next. And that framework, and then going back in and reviewing it, that's mentorship. Okay. If I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to fail miserably, and you're not going to see the market go to where I'm saying it's going to go. And that's what I'm saying when I say I'm in the 90% bracket of being correct. Using a daily chart, an hourly chart, and a 15-minute time frame, I outline with that scope. I don't go through a 4-hour chart. I don't go down to a 5-minute chart that often. I do it sometimes, but all of those ideas are fleshed out conceptually, and then we watch it pan out. The lessons in the mentorship and even the lessons in this YouTube channel, you can push them into that expectation of where price is likely to go at specific times of the day. And you'll see that they're there all the time. All the time. There's a setup in the New York session. Not every single currency is going to have a very clean setup or an obvious setup, but one of them in the majors will. So let's take a look at the trade that I did. It will be silent. That portion of the video will be silent. I did enough talking, as you can clearly see. I probably tortured many of you. But what I just gave you is an honest man's point of view and differentiation between the idea of educators using MT4 versus a student using MT4, because you're not going to scam yourself, folks. Let's be real about this. If you know you only have 200 hours to put into an account, and that's what you want to work with to start with, okay, and you put it into a reputable broker like Forex.com or Oanda, there's absolutely nothing fraudulent about that, period. There's no reason to feel what you're doing in that relationship with the broker that you're not going to be frauded. You're not going to be frauded. If you lose money, you did it wrong. That's all there is. If he hits your stop, you placed it in the wrong place. It's as simple as that. It's a lot of responsibility this industry forces upon you. And there's a lot of irresponsible people and people with expectations and entitlement that's not justified. And that's why this millennial generation is struggling, because they have a spirit of entitlement that is unjustified. And now you bring that expectation and thought process into the hardest industry on the planet. Why is everyone surprised at the results and the adversities? Oh, that guy scammed me. That broker scammed me. Look, I got scammed by FXCM. I know what it's like. But Oanda and Forex.com, they are extremely regulated. They would be slapped down like FXCM and kicked out of the United States if they did any funny money business like that. So don't think just because educators should be forced to use an element outside of MT4 to prove they can trade. I think if those individuals also do that if they did it with a non-MT4 platform and proved not just one trade, not one instance, okay, but consistently do it with outlining it beforehand, then I think that person should be allowed from a community standpoint to return back to MT4, because I worked so much in MT4 for so long on baby pips coming from TradeStation, it's a learning process, and then you get real comfortable with it. Like I'm starting to get comfortable with this trading view, and there's a lot of things that I expect the cursor and mouse to do because I'm trained, because of experience using MT4 with teaching it, that I expect this trading view to dance and perform that way, and that I'm clumsy. So there's basically this. If you're a trader and you're wanting to trade, don't be afraid of MT4. But if you are a trader looking to learn from a educator and they're only giving you MT4 examples, then it's justified for you to be holding a measure of suspect or apprehension. Because if they're not willing to give you evidence that they can engage outside of MT4, then your concerns are justified. You're absolutely justified in your concern that they may not be what they claim to be, that they may not know what they claim to know. And there's no shame in that. And any educator that would argue against that, okay, no, I don't agree to that. This guy's a jerk. He's a liar. He's a scammer. You're going to see this surge of people coming at me now, okay? And they're going to say all kinds of untrue things because I have just laid down the gauntlet and said, now even ICT said that I should always give an example out of MT4. And they may be profitable traders. They absolutely may be genuine. And they feel that because I said this, I'm expecting like a sense of entitlement. I don't care really personally because I'm already in my own lane doing what I need to do. But I don't see the counter argument to people that would say you're probably a fraud or a scam artist if you're unwilling to execute on TradingView because it's not MT4. You can't game the system on TradingView. So if you're good at trading, you would engage. And there's people that do live streams and they talk about where the market might be going, but you don't see them actually executing even in their live streams either. I've been in a few of them. Actually, I've been in a lot of them. And it was kind of disappointing to see that no trade was really executed. And you hear people in the background saying, oh yeah, I took a trade in London because now it's moved 60 pips. Come on. If I took a trade, you're going to see that I took a trade. Okay? You're going to see it. I'm not going to say, yeah, I took a trade over here. It feels dirty to say it like that. Okay? It just feels inappropriate. If you even mention the word that you took a trade, okay, show me the trade. Show me where you entered it, when you entered it. Because if you're going to make a video, okay, make the video, have that in it. It ain't an idea that you found after the fact. Like I sat down, I saw the chart, and you see me put the limit order in. I knew what I'm looking for, and the market delivered it. And it hasn't really done much since.